Bitcoin to $1 million. I know it sounds crazy, but there is one person who believes that number is potentially right around the corner. We're going to discuss that. Also, an official date has been set for the long-awaited Ethereum Denkun upgrade, which will bring fees down on layer 2s, which will bring fees down on the Ethereum mainnet as well. We have some news about a potential AAA game on Avalanche. We're going to look at the gameplay. We're going to talk about that. Also, big news coming from Polygon. And am I going to put in an XRP long trade today? I guess you're going to have to stay tuned to find out. With that being said, let's get into it.
Hola! It's your boy Big Rob back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we're the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel. We take old, boring, and stale information, repackage that thing up in a fun and sexy. Super Bowl is almost here. $45,000 Bitcoin is here today.
A lot of road construction kind of way, you know?
We love road construction out here. We're upgrading the infrastructure, baby.
Yeah.
Like an East 2.0 upgrade here on
It just never finished.
Flamingo, Las Vegas Boulevard. The whole thing's under construction out here in Vegas.
Since 2004. Before I get into any content, I have a very important question I need answered, Robin. So here's your scenario. Where's your next bite going?
You gotta go with B, bro.
No.
You gotta hit the juicy
C,
center,
dude.
bro.
Look, you eat the middle of a Cinnabon at the very end,
No,
right?
if
You eat
you-
around it, and then
if
you
you
leave
go-
the middle left.
If you go A or C, then the B is gonna squirt out all over your
It
hand.
won't. You got to be careful when you bite into it so it doesn't squirt out.
Why are you eating peanut butter and jelly?
Rocco, how do they do it in Italy?
Dude,
We don't go ABC. We eat it all.
You just eat
We
it all?
don't waste
Okay.
any time on that.
Well, there's a order of procedure, right?
Now, why
Anyways.
you're gonna find procedure and even eating a sandwich? Just bite into that.
This thing is missing some barbecue sauce. I will tell you that. Want to know what the chat thinks? This is your sandwich
That thinks that
situation.
You're a weirdo.
What is your next bite? A, B, or C? I'm going C. Robin's a weirdo going A. You always leave the best for last, bro. Anyways. All right, let's get into it. Bitcoin to $1 million might not be as crazy as you think. So BitMEX co-founder Arthur Hayes, his Bitcoin forecasts, he believes it'll reach $1 million amid the banking turmoil. Hayes, recognized for his unique views of the crypto space, shared his thoughts on Bitcoin's potential trajectory in light of the current financial challenges facing the New York Community Bank, NYCB. Hayes interprets the bank's struggle and the broader banking sector's difficulties as indicators of systemic issues in traditional banking. He posits that these challenges could lead to greater reliance on cryptocurrencies like BTC. Hayes' perspective is shaped by the view that the conventional banking model is facing sustainability issues. He argues that to address these challenges, the U.S. Federal Reserve could print more money, leading to a deeper financial crisis. In such a scenario, Hayes believes Bitcoin is a viable alternative, offering a degree of insulation from traditional banking sector problems. And this was the corresponding tweet here, said, from junk to bankrupt, that's the future. And then more money printer, Bitcoin to $1 million. You know, the regional banks are struggling. We shared last month that the Fed is ending their borrowing window. So essentially, the banks are kind of on their own. But of course, we know if they start to go under, the Fed's going to step in and, reopen that window or, give loans or whatever they do.
The whole $1 million Bitcoin thesis is off of banks failing and massive printing.
Yes.
And then inflation.
Do you agree with that?
Well, it is here. And the reason I say that is Arizona iced teas are now double the price.
No way.
$2,
No
bro.
way.
That 99 cent that's printed on the side of the can, that is gone, man.
Stop it.
That is gone.
Those things have been the most stable item on the market at $1 for the longest time ever. Is this true?
It's true, man. It's here.
Wow.
It's here.
Okay.
What's next?
99-cent store is the $5.99 store?
$99 store soon, yeah.
What do you think
You're
about...
like, I got a pack of gum. It cost me $103.
Here's the thing. A lot of people are saying if Bitcoin's at $1 million, then fiat currency has crumbled, right? Like Bitcoin at $1 million in 10 years when there's hyperinflation and whatever it is, it would be like Bitcoin at 150K now. Do you agree with that, or what are your thoughts on what Arthur Hayes is saying here? Do you?
I mean, you look at anything related that's priced in dollars that has a finite supply, particularly commodities, or you can even look at stock issued by a company. You can always issue more stock, but generally speaking, there is a one pool of stock issued, and then that's why we see S&P 500 breaking new all-time highs, usually every year, or at least within a 2 to 4 year window. You know you're going to get new all-time highs in the stock market, especially in the index funds that track a large basket of companies. And then you look at commodities. Obviously, the price of gold has been going up and to the right over the last 100 years. Interesting thought when gold is that an ounce of gold will always buy you it can always buy a suit, right? So in the medieval days, you could buy a suit of armor with an ounce of gold. And in the 30s, you could buy one of those fly ass like pinstripe suits with the little top hat for an ounce of gold. And now you can go buy one of those Armani suits for an ounce of gold.
Armani suit.
But now here's the thing: the ounce of gold is still the same weight, but an ounce of gold back in the 30s was, a few dollars, versus now an ounce of gold is hundreds of dollars. And so it just goes to show you that anything that is priced in dollars
depreciate.
It keeps going up in price, and that's simply because we just keep printing. And that's the beauty of Bitcoin. There's a finite supply. It's over 5 million Bitcoin supposedly lost in the due to the wallets that have been lost or misplaced, funds that have gotten burned. So we got 19 million Bitcoin out there, 14 million realistically in circulation. And then on top of that, you got Satoshi's wallet, which is another million. And there's only 2 more million to be mined. So, you have a supply crunch, and they just
Someone's got to give
dollars. Right? Yeah. We over doubled the amount of circulating dollars, or the dollars in the M2 money supply. It was like 2.5 since pre-COVID. And so, I mean, it doesn't take a mathematical genius. If you're playing Monopoly and you just give everybody 2 times the amount of money, we know that the hotels they pop up a lot faster and everything gets a lot cheaper, right?
And then it all comes crumbling down. Speaking of crumbling down, this was a headline on Yahoo Finance today. Shaky commercial loans threaten a new regional bank crisis. So kind of feeding into what Arthur Hayes is saying here. I think we can all agree, if we're watching the show, right? The Mark Moss said it the best. It's an experiment, right? Over the last 50 years, we've been doing this fiat experiment where money has been backed by nothing but full faith and credit of the government, right? For the last 5,000 years, it's been backed by commodity, whether it's seashells, whether it's yarn or lint or whatever you want to say. It's backed by something. Over the last,
when has money been backed by yarn?
No,
stop it.
That's what the cats used to use, I hear. You get my point.
No, I don't get your point.
The point is, the last 50 years has been the first time where we really have had money backed by nothing. And it's an experiment that we believe is going to come to an end. And when it does come to an end, it's going to be very ugly. People are going to lose a lot of money. They're going to lose a lot of purchasing power. Their financial situations are going to be ruined unless you have positioned yourself and your family and your wealth into assets like Bitcoin, like digital assets, like gold, like other
I
commodities.
was talking to somebody about apartments the other day, and I was like, you know what? When after I graduated high school, everybody got an apartment. An apartment was like $500, $600, maybe $700 for the nicer apartments. That was halfway through through year 2000, right? So 2005, you get a $500 apartment, right? $600. My first apartment here in Vegas, not the best area in town, but $500.
$500 get you a bathroom now.
It was nice because I moved from like this not so nice place in Virginia, and I moved out here to Vegas. And then my girlfriend, she was from California. And,
Listen, is the story time?
You got a girlfriend?
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Wow, story time. We still have that, bud?
Yeah.
Still works? Wow.
No sound, but.
Sound brought to you by Rocco. Okay.
So yeah, no, yeah, moved out here. So my girlfriend, she was from California, and I thought the apartment was pretty nice. It was on Washington down here. Okay, you know Vegas,
That's
Washington.
not good.
Anyways, I had a basketball court right outside the apartment. I was all psyched, and then her mom refused to come visit at all. She was like, "You live in the hood," and I'm like, "Pretty nice place." But anyways, you know, with inflation, getting a position on Bitcoin is the way to go. Supply shock is around the corner. To take a look, update you on the ETF flows and where this money is going. It was only about 10 days ago. The total net flows were. Let's see if I can. I'm trying to zoom in on this thing here. There we go. So you can see here this blue number, total flows, $1.8 billion. 10 days ago, this was at 700 million. So think about that. 700 million less than 10 days ago, up 1.1 billion and just less than 2 weeks. And so if you think that this isn't going to accumulate and speed up because the outflows, so this red number here at the top that represents grayscale, the sell is subsiding, it is slowing down, and what's speeding up is the buys. And so when this is 50 billion, I mean, do you think we get to 50 billion by the end of the year on ETF inflows?
A big number. That's a really big number. But I
mean, think about it. You're pretty much at 2 billion, right?
So
If we round up, we're at 2 billion. And what's the total days?
Are you talking about flows or assets?
I'm talking about,
Because assets were already at 30, right?
yes, the assets. So Grayscale had 25 billion. I'm talking about inflows in total. So $50 billion going into the ETF market. This was, I think this is, what is the total amount of days? Normally it's listed here, but
About 18, 19 days.
18, 19. So $2 billion roughly over 18 days. Now just imagine when Bitcoin's price starts to rally, starts to go parabolic, it breaks new all-time highs. I mean, we see the euphoria in the retail markets. It's gonna spill over to the markets are comparable, right? You get people catching FOMO. Maybe that feeling from investors in retail in the past has been from novice investors that will just gladly dump money without doing any research. However, this is going to be something similar you're going to see in the stock market, right? There's going to be investors and institutions that's like, hey, man, you know what? We need to get a position on this Bitcoin thing before it gets out of control. Before, as you mentioned, as experts and other people are like, hey, this thing's going to go to $1 million. What happens when they see the price of it going to $70,000? Their competitors or companies that they're competing against are making tons of money in Bitcoin, right? And if you're a financial advisor, hedge fund, retirement, 401k, if you're getting bigger returns for your customers and everyone's like, yeah, man, these guys over here, Fidelity, man, they killing my portfolio. They crushing it. Like I am up like massive. Like they're making me so much money. Like, don't you think that the competitors across the street, other portfolio managers, they're not like,
Of course. I mean, look, they these financial advisors, their income is tied to how well your portfolio does.
Mhm.
So if you have an asset class that's annually compounded, bringing you in of 120%, you'd be kind of stupid not to. At least we saw Fidelity; their number is 1%, 1.1%. Can we see that number go up to 2,
I just
2.5, 3?
I think this way. Like if I'm a financial advisor, a money manager, and I have say 50 clients, there's at least 2 or 3 of them in there that are like, yeah, man, give me some of this Bitcoin. And what do you think those individual clients' portfolio is going to look like after 2 years? They're going to be crushing it, right? They're going to be the best clients they have. They're going to be like, man, you know what? I got my top performing clients here, the ones that I just hit the biggest home runs on, got exposure to Bitcoin. What do you think they're going to do to the other 46 clients that they have, right? They're going to say, hey, man, I got Bob, I got Tracy, this other person. these 3 portfolios, killing it, my best returns over the last 2 years.
Not only that,
let me convince everybody else that I represent to get a position on it too.
not just that, but it's the actual people, the clients talking to each other, right? How's your portfolio doing? You know, when they meet up for their yearly Christmas parties.
You know, I'm actually glad you brought that up because you know, when you introduce clients to each other, you
Not
ever
bad.
introduce a ETH friend to a Solana friend?
No.
Anyways, this is so me introducing my Solana friend to my ETH friend. That I it's so this is
What is that? What are we
so
watching?
you got Solana on the left, ETH on the right, and so yeah, there you go, man.
Wow, thanks for that, Robin.
Yeah, you're welcome. You know, the ETH and Solana community, they're very strange, but you put them together, and the sparks happen. Yeah, there you go.
Where did you find this video?
I wanted to show something, but I completely forgot. Oh, here's what I wanted to show. ETF overview. BlackRock now holds 78,000 Bitcoin. Interesting, Rob. Grayscale. Remember when they held over 600,000 BTC? Down to under 500,000 now. 470,000 Bitcoin over the last 7 days. Over 16,000 has left the trust. Obviously, everyone else is in the green because of, well, their new issuers. Well, with the exception of a few. But we have Fidelity coming in number 2. If we take Grayscale out of it, at 66.6 thousand Bitcoin held on behalf of their ETF holders. So, like Robin mentioned, once the Grayscale selling completely subsides, I mean, if you're even remotely decent at math, you can figure out what the price will do. Then we have this. China's inflation rate plummets to negative. So they're currently in deflation. This is the worst enemy for governments and central banks, which means that they're going to start printing money. So keep an eye out for that. Obviously, the Chinese markets are big. Then we have this from Coinbase. Americans could have saved $74 billion in credit card transaction fees in 2022 alone by using blockchain. This isn't just about saving money. It's about giving everyone control and ownership of their money. I look at this as if merchants are not paying these fees, so merchants pay fees, and then you essentially get a fee baked in as well. Can those savings be passed on to the end user, to the person buying groceries, to the person buying a car, to the person buying stuff on Amazon? Potentially. So you got anything to add to this one for everyone?
No.
And then this video, very interesting here. Before I go over the video, I do want to give a big shout out to our channel sponsor, Cam's Blue Wire Technology. If you want to learn how they can help your business scale and grow and maximize your networking, IT, and cybersecurity, trust us when we say there is no better company to go with than Cam's. This show would not be possible in 4K without the help of them. So big shout out to them and the team, and big shout out to them for sponsoring our channel. There's a link in the description if you want to have more information. Now, we'll share this video. It's about 2 minutes long, but it's very intriguing. What is happening in El Salvador? Pay with Bitcoin for local goods, and the sats get automatically divided amongst the people who produced it. So listen to how this thing works. Very interesting.
We're going to be this time using the Espresso Pay tool made by Salvadorian engineers on the Lightning Network. So once I log in as Cherito, we have a point of sale, royalty payments, so the split payments can be received by our producers, part of our BioCrop project by Tierra Bendita, and we're working on different, additional value added such as inventory management for small and medium-sized businesses. So I'm going to generate an invoice, a Lightning invoice for $1. Just to give an example, we have 2 features in this. We can activate the NFC engagement on the phone. So here it is. There's the QR. So one can pay with an NFC card or Lightning. So, which wallet are you using?
Phoenix.
Phoenix. So.
Pay. Done.
All right. So
It's
then.
out of my wallet.
One moment.
Minus $1 and 1 penny.
All right. So then we're gonna get the payment in a little bit. My phone is keeping.
You're famous here.
Jeez. All right, 1 second. There it is. Oh, and once the idea is that the farmers, like, some are going to get 5 cents, 10 cents.
So it automatically pays to the people in
so
the food chain.
Split payment. So
Yeah.
that's our way of helping them to help the country to accelerate Bitcoin adoption in rural areas.
Because you're forcing them to be involved in the payment process of buying a product.
How cool is that, Robin? Imagine if this was implemented, right? Whether it's coffee, fruit, products, services, the people who produce it, the farmers that pick the beans or however that process is, everyone gets a piece of the profit pie. Imagine the ramifications of that, being incentivized, making people essentially more productive, being able to track everything on the blockchain via, supply chain tracking on the blockchain. This is very intriguing to me. And it's always nice to see outside of, the price is at 45, 50K. Oh, Bitcoin's going to make us millionaires. This is something like a real world use case that was very intriguing to me. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, this seems somewhat futuristic when you first watch it, but it also just makes sense, right? You take away all the friction points and you make things just a lot simpler when it comes to giving people their due payment, right? Instead of one person collecting and then deciding who they, you can have this all done in real time, and you have less middlemen over here taking profits. I mean, imagine if majority of the coffee was sold in this manner globally, not just within El Salvador, but let's just say that I go and pick up that same bag of coffee here at my local grocery store in Las Vegas, and a whatever percentage of the beans are in there, say 20% was provided by this farmer, 20% of those proceeds would go there back to the original source. Makes sense, right? I mean, I feel like
Essentially
that's
profit sharing, right?
yeah. It's not necessarily yes, it's profit sharing, but I think it's just a more efficient market. I think it's the way that you would ideally set up a market if you could do it in a hypothetical perfect world, right? In a hypothetical perfect world, you say, hey, I have this good 100% of it is here. When it's bought, everyone gets their amount of their pie back in real time, and without anybody taking a cut and saying, hey, well, we'll pay you for this amount. Like, it just
It all happens automatically. It
Yeah.
happens on chain, right? It settles on the Lightning Network in this case. Imagine something like luxury goods or shoes, right? It increases productivity. It encourages the workers to do good work. And you can implement something like reviews or communications between, like, you can literally know who made your $5,000 Rolex watch or your $10,000 Rolex watch. And hey, you do a great job. This is amazing. It gets a certain review or whatever the case may be. Bam. Certain percent of that money goes to the maker of that. And I think it's just overall, I don't see any negatives in it. I think it's great. But this is just one of the things that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency could potentially do. And then I
think also expand on that. I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to smart contracts, right? And you can have all this programmed in. It's very interesting that this is done on Bitcoin, though, right?
It's in El Salvador, right?
What's that?
It's in El Salvador.
Yeah, but it's done on the Bitcoin network, right? They're not using
They're using Lightning.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're using a
Layer
a layer 2 or technically a side chain. Yeah, but it's Bitcoin, right? And there's always this big knock on Bitcoin that and it's funny they always say you can't buy a cup of coffee with Bitcoin. Well, buy the beans, right? And so I'm just curious to see what if this is just the tip of the iceberg, because if you're using a crypto blockchain that is designed to do exactly this, that it is built from the ground up to facilitate payments with smart contracts and to say give if then parameters. If someone buys, then you get your percentage back, and then on top of that, you can have the smart contract pay not even just to the farmer. You can say, hey, here's the taxes going back to the government, so that way, as a business owner, I don't need to go and pay taxes every year and add stuff up. Taxes are automatically removed, automatically sent to the central bank or the revenue service that collects taxes in other countries. And so everything just becomes more efficient, right? Because right now what we have is an outdated system where, hey, like how much money did did you save your receipts? I mean, think about it. Like tax time's coming up. Shout out to Decrypt Tax as well, one of our sponsors. But tax time is coming up, and if you got to keep your receipts, man. I mean, just think about a situation where, hey, everything's done on the blockchain. I can just log into my wallet address and say, hey,
you can query data too. Like you can use,
And then with smart contracts, it's all going to come out in real time. So you don't even need to do at the end of, I think in 20 years from now, I don't even think you're going to need to do a tax return. I think you're just going to pay your taxes right then and there. And then all the tax implications are going to settle in real time.
And this is kind of out there a little bit, but you hear some economists and politicians or whatever, they talk about getting rid of income tax and having one tax, a sales tax, right? Higher, but essentially you're paying taxes on everything you buy and sell, and you're keeping 100% of your income. That could be, if that goes on blockchain, I think that would actually bring in more revenue than having the system we have now. And it alleviates a lot of the, well, I don't know what to write off, and I don't want to get audited. And hey, you make a purchase, it's on the blockchain, the taxes are taken right then and there. And bam, end of the year, there's no, let me go meet up with a tax accountant and get all these forms. And I'm going through it right now. I got a tax appointment in 2.5 weeks, and I'm over here trying to get statements from this bank account, from the credit card, from the sponsors, the invoices, whatever the case may be. And so it's definitely a hassle and something that we believe blockchain can.
Also, big shout out to Chris Morris, $1.99 super chat, talking about stacks. So we're right here in that category. We're talking about
$20 to $25.
Yeah, he said, what is the peak there? So currently stacks sitting at 182, previous all-time high, $2 and some change. Yeah, I think $20 probably sounds about right.
25.
I wouldn't be surprised, because this is the leading side chain on Bitcoin that has smart contracts, and so why not leverage the security of Bitcoin? Also run smart contracts. Think of Polygon, how successful that chain has been. But just imagine if Polygon had less competition and it was on the world's largest crypto network. If
Stacks can garner about 40% plus of that ecosystem of the Bitcoin, DeFi, smart contracts, if they can I think they can get up to $50 bucks.
Yeah,
I believe just in comparison to where Stacks is, where Bitcoin.
And never doubt those Bitcoin maxis, because they don't play around, man. And so you give them a smart contract platform like Stacks, I think they'll just stay in there. Because the thing is a lot of Bitcoin maxis, they don't want to leave Bitcoin. And so that's why they're always touting Lightning Network. And so if they decide to start dabbling in smart contracts, they're probably going to stick in their own ecosystem. So Stacks makes a lot of sense. We've seen Stacks be correlated to the big price movements in Bitcoin. So, not surprised to see Stacks rallying pretty heavy in the last 7 days. You can see here, Stacks was down to 140. And since Bitcoin has rallied up to 45,000,
go to the 1 year, Robin. You could have picked up Stacks at under $1, bro.
Yeah, 40 cents during this last bear market. Kind of this consolidation zone. But I think this is literally just the tip of the iceberg for Stacks. One of my favorite projects, especially with the ETF coming around. As we said, with the inflows on these ETFs ramping up, speeding up, I would be eyeballing Stacks as one of my top picks in the next 3 to 6 month time window. I do think the alts, some of the more degenerate alts, layer ones, will outperform Stacks at this bull market. But in this short-term window, I do like Stacks.
Robert, why don't we give some love to the chat and then get into the markets?
All right. So if you are new here, say hello so we can drop an hola back at you. We do have Eddie A, Secrez, Kenton Smith, Justin Kerwood, and to all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Also, smash the like. Drop an hola in the chat. There you
go. Wow. Markets.
Yes. Markets.
Yes.
All right. So taking a look, as we mentioned, Bitcoin crossed over that 45K mark. And as the thumbnail alluded to for our show, $1 million is right around the corner. Now, So taking a look at where we're at here on Bitcoin. On the 24 hours, just it wasn't anything like degenerate, no kind of giant move, just steadily creeping up. 24 hours ago, we were at 43,500, and then just slow accumulation up and to the right just in the last 24 hours. You take a look at the 7 days, looking a lot more sexy here as well. We were down to 42,000 just earlier this week. We had went all the way down to 42.3. So some big gains, and then you can see that we're making up some ground here off of this right here on this 1 month chart. This here was the ETF going live and the unexpected mass exodus from Grayscale. And now we're starting to rebound there. Grayscale selling has subsided. And as we've mentioned, the ETFs are growing in inflows. So now to take a look at the broader crypto markets, some of the biggest gainers today. We got Dimensions up 100% on the week, 34, a not so well known product creeping in to the top 50, quickly climbing up the leaderboards here.
Cosmos token, I believe. I could be wrong.
Now, BitTorrent up 30% as well. Stacks up 16%. Remember, as we said, Bitcoin moves, so does Stacks. So something to keep an eye out there. Celestia up 10%. Flow, a lot of green. I mean, you can look. There's 20 plus projects up over 5% today. And then on the red side here, not as heavy on the red, but Pendle, Jupiter. This airdrops are still, people are still taking profits on tokens they just got issued. Monero down, Conflux as well, and then a few other ones that are down just a little bit. But there you go.
I do want to share this from Into the Block. So this is a great resource. So if you're a stat metrics nerd, highly recommend this. So this is shows you how many addresses are in and out of the money, and you can see where we're at right now. This 45.1 level. We have about 7.8 million addresses that are currently in the money, which represents around 75%. And once we cross 46.5, there's going to be another 660,000 addresses that are going to go from in the red to in the green. And so as this thing grows, and obviously as we reach new all-time highs, it'll be 100%. And so typically when we start seeing that, people do start to take profit. Maybe you have a few people that bought at the top and they're like, oh, man, I lost so much money. I just want to get my money back. And can we see some potential selling for the people that got in right at the top? Potentially. Taking a look at the Bitcoin chart here. So this was on the 4 hour. We were talking about this yesterday, and we did put in a limit long order that never got filled because we never got a retest of this trend line when we broke out of this symmetrical triangle. It was just a straight moonshot up. And we are seeing a potential reversal candle on the 4 hour. We'll see how it closes over the next 23 minutes. But we are pretty overbought on the Lux Algo RSI. Taking a look at the matrix oscillator here. Money flow is green, but barely, right? We're pretty extended on the hyperwave. And we are seeing some potential bearish divergence on the 4 hour for BTC. What did this do? So this is called a shooting star. If this thing closes exactly the way it looks, typically, this is a reversal pattern. Could we come back and the immediate, and I'll throw on the VRVP so we can see where our buy and potential sell walls are coming in. So we do have a little bit of volume coming in right around this 44.5 level. And then there's really nothing until about 44.2, and then a big gap until we reach around 43.5. Is that going to happen? Who knows? But again, overextended on a 4 hour. If we zoom into the 1 hour on BTC, we can see here kind of a making a higher high, higher low, higher high. We did hold this last low here, so we didn't make a lower low. So the trend is still up on the shorter time frame for Bitcoin. And then there was one more thing I wanted to show on here. Oh, I wanted to go to the 4 hour. And something similar that we kind of saw in the 4 hour. This was back in January 22nd. We saw a similar symmetrical triangle breakout moonshot up, consolidate a little to the downside, even forming almost a bull flag, another move up, another consolidation down, and then another, this last move up before we got into this pattern here was roughly around 5, and then we traded essentially sideways. Are we going to see something similar than what we saw back in the mid-January? This was when money flow was red on the matrix oscillator. We did get a few of the green dots printed, but we'll see how that plays out. If we do reject, we want to stay above this 44.7 level. If we don't, we so happen to crash back down, and I say crash back down from 45 to 43, I would be looking at a long entry right around $43,082. Now, I didn't mention at the top of the show, XRP. You know, I've been pretty outspoken against XRP, but this might be a nice, decent long setup, Robin. Yeah. XRP on the 4-hour, symmetrical triangle. Looks great. We zoom out to the daily on XRP. We've kind of been in this downtrend since November of last year, right? And I'll kind of draw, and this is kind of a, here, we'll go like this. We'll zoom in here and take a look here. So broke above it a few times, right? Even built support on top and then came crashing right back down, bumped up against the support line. And that's where we're headed to next, okay? That is where we're headed to next. If I take a look on the daily, on the matrix oscillator, you can see we've had a couple of green dots printed. The last time we did that, XRP rallied a few times. So this is it's a pretty reliable indicator. It's not something that I'd recommend. Hey, you see a green dot, buy. You see a red dot, sell. No, it's something that just kind of confirms what you already were thinking about going position-wise on any cryptocurrency, and in this case, XRP. And then on the daily, we're seeing some constriction on the Bollinger Bands as we are trading on the lower end of this band here. And so I'm expecting a move up from XRP. If I take off the Bollinger Bands and I throw on the Ichimoku Cloud, you can see here, we should see some immediate potential resistance right at that 54-cent level. And then if we breach that, expect to get resistance at 57.3 cents. Still, along from here, 51.6 to 57 cents, depending on what kind of leverage you use, could potentially make a lot of money. So with that being said, Robin,
Yep.
how would you feel about putting in an XRP long trade right now?
I like it, man.
Yeah?
You feeling all right
He's
today?
gonna jinx it.
I know, right?
The XRP hater over here, man.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Not a hater, and just
Are
a
you putting
realist.
a short? What
And on the weekly, XRP is one of the few that is oversold, right? Let's see what that looks like.
YOLO.
Let's see what that looks like. Let's go to this. So we're using
Get
Bing
in
X
there.
platform.
You going degenerate?
We're using Bing X platform. Oh, real quick, I want to share this. So we closed out 2 trades. So for full transparency, we got liquidated on one of our Bitcoin longs, but everything else we closed in the money. So we closed our Chainlink 3X long play at a 20% profit. And then we also closed the Polygon Matic one for a 25% profit. We were in the red. We were underwater for a little bit of time on this one, but still booked 25% profit on an 8X long position. And so BingX is one of the platforms that we enjoy using. And so taking a look at XRP, let's take a look here at XRP. So XRP, let's do long margin. Let's do 150, and let's see what our liquidation point is. So 49.9 cents. Let's go back to the XRP chart here.
You doing a 25X?
49.9 cents. So I would expect if we do get rejected here and we don't break out, right? And we might be entering a little early here, but I don't mind, right? I don't mind as long as the liquidation point is where we feel comfortable. And so if we come back down, the level we would expect to get immediate support at is right around that 50.1 cent level. So going back to the trade setup here, this is a 25x leverage position that puts us at 49 cents. I want to give myself a little more room. So instead of 25, let's go 15, and let's see what that looks like on the liquidation. So liquidation on that one looks like about 48 cents. We'll go back to the chart. So 48 cents would put us below this last recent low right here, which I feel pretty comfortable, man. So 48 cents puts us below this last low, and you can see here on the 4-hour, we haven't been down there for a very, very long time. And so I'm pretty comfortable with this trade. Robin, you feeling good? You ready?
I see you just ramped that thing up to 20x, bro.
20x?
I'm feeling.
You're
adventurous.
feeling degenerate today, huh?
Yeah, real degenerate.
Okay,
There you
let's
go.
see what 20 looks like.
There we go. There it is.
49.39.
Beautiful.
49.39. Okay. All right, done.
20x. There we go.
All right, we're in.
Do we get Super Bowl tickets if we crack 7,000 in profit?
One ticket?
I mean, I'm the only one that needs to go.
Oh, you are? Okay, must be nice. So David finds the trades, Robin goes to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So just a recap of the trade.
Hola.
$150, 20x leverage on XRP, going long here. Average open price 51.6 cents. Liquidation price at 49.4. Again, the thought behind this, we are expecting, if we do get a pullback, we expect XRP to come back. And we do have some cloud support here right around that 51.3 cent level as well. But we do expect immediate support right around 50 cents even. And if we dip below, we should see price pick back up around 49.2 cents. So getting a little tight on the liquidation. So if we break, I'll be honest with you, Rob, if we break below this trend line, I will probably add some margin and bring that liquidation price to under 48 cents. Keep the trade alive.
All I heard was scared money.
Funny you say that. All right, guys. Also, we will be doing our Lux Algo giveaway. If you're a whale member, Lux Algo was kind enough to offer you guys 40% off any plan. And so essentially, if you use it, the savings you get from that, that pays for 10 months of a whale membership on Sin City Crypto. So big shout out to them.
Also, big shout out to Mike Vollmer, 10 gifted memberships. And then we got a few new people, ICP Profits, Dennis J, Max B, and JG. To all of you, hola! Welcome.
All right. Let's get into some of the biggest news here. So Michael Saylor's at it again.
Did he buy?
He bought some more Bitcoin.
I'm gonna buy all the damn Bitcoin.
MicroStrategy makes it. No, where's oh, here we go. There we go. MicroStrategy buys more Bitcoin. Here's how much profit it holds now. So they bought another 37 million. It's our rookie numbers, man. You gotta pump those numbers up. Saylor, what are you doing, bro? 37 million. That's it. So they currently hold. So they bought 850 Bitcoin worth roughly $37.2 million. And this is a chart of their amount held, reaching 200,000 BTC. Almost 1% of the supply, the total max supply, right? Then we have this. MicroStrategy makes its case as alternative to spot ETFs. Really wanted to get Mark Yusko's take on this yesterday, but conversation was so good talking about these ETFs, I didn't want to take it off. But essentially, Michael Saylor is saying, hey, look, you want exposure to Bitcoin, invest in MicroStrategy, right? So my question to you, Rob, is companies like MicroStrategy, right? Publicly traded mining companies like Riot, Marathon, other traditional publicly traded companies that would have been your proxy exposure to Bitcoin, are they in trouble as now we have an ETF, which gives you direct exposure to Bitcoin? As you can see here, Robin, MicroStrategy posted weaker than expected fourth quarter earnings on Tuesday. And so for him to come out and say, hey, we're an alternative to spot ETFs, do you feel like this is something that can negatively affect these companies?
It's exposure to Bitcoin, more leverage on a traditional market. That's all MicroStrategy is, right? I mean, from a trade from a purchase one product versus the other way. Now, obviously the fundamentals, you got the company, they're all in, and the ETF exposure to the direct asset, sure. But at the end of the day, from a price investment standpoint, it's essentially investing in Bitcoin with more leverage, right? Because what they're doing is they're taking revenue that comes in, they're taking cash on hand, investment, their stocks, they're dividending out more, they're borrowing. And then what they're doing is they're generating as much capital as possible and then buying more Bitcoin. And that essentially is leverage, right? They're not going one-to-one. It's not like Michael Saylor's out here, just taking money out of his own personal wallet and then putting it into MicroStrategy and buying Bitcoin. They're borrowing. That's essentially what they're doing. They're taking investment money from the through Wall Street people buying their stock and their stock valuation going up, and then in turn selling stocks and then buying more Bitcoin. They're just leveraging Bitcoin. So from a traditional standpoint, exposure there. So you're going to get higher upside returns, but you're also going to get bigger pullbacks as well. And we saw it in the last crash of Bitcoin, where MicroStrategy stock plummeted further down in percentage lost than Bitcoin did. And at the same time, you're going to see the bigger returns on the way up. So it's really up to you on what your strategy is going into your investment thesis when it comes to Bitcoin. You want bigger returns in the upside bull market. I think right now, if I was to purchase a stock, or if I had money on a traditional platform, and I said, hey, option A, I can go Bitcoin, or option B, I can go MicroStrategy. If my time horizon is within this next bull market for entry and exit, I would go on MicroStrategy. I think they're going to have bigger returns in the next 1.5 years versus what you would get on Bitcoin. Now, if you have a longer term time horizon, you're looking further out for 10, 12, 20, 30 years. And at that point, I think because it's a company, it's a centralized company, you never know, they're controlled, they're regulated by the SEC as far as their stock. It's going to be a safer play to go with the underlying asset, which would be Bitcoin. I'm just curious, back to our thesis of $1 million Bitcoin. At some point, Bitcoin hits $1 million, right? It's just really on the time horizon. Do you fall into that same thing?
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, whether or not it's 6 years from now or 16 years from now, Bitcoin's going to hit $1 million. And at that point, and I know it's just a large number, but when Bitcoin's $1 million and MicroStrategy holds as much as they do, I mean, they're going to be the smartest company in globally, right? I mean, the amount of the profits that they're going to return is going to be insane. And so, I mean, how much Bitcoin do they own hold now?
Michael Straylor?
Yes.
Almost 200,000, about 190 something.
Okay. And then, so you said how much? 200. So we're going to say
Close
200,
to 200K.
200K.
Close.
All right. So, you have, if you were going to get Bitcoin to reach $1 million at their current holdings, there would be $200 billion holdings, right? Their Bitcoin, the Bitcoin that they hold now would be valued at $200 billion if Bitcoin gets to 1 million. And so at some point, if you agree that Bitcoin gets to $1 million at some point, whether it's 6 or 16 years, if it gets to that point, they're going to have $200 billion, right?
That's crazy.
What is the largest, what's the largest company? Was it,
Grayscale?
no, just the largest US-based trading company.
I believe Apple.
Apple?
Apple or Microsoft.
So Apple company valuation.
Should be close to north of $2 trillion.
So Apple, $2.8 trillion is Apple's total valuation. So 10% of Apple's valuation, if Bitcoin gets to $1 million. And he's going to buy the whole way up as well, right? So by the time Bitcoin gets to $1 million, he's probably going to have, what do you think, at least 50% more exposure, right? 300,000 Bitcoin, maybe 400,000 Bitcoin. And on top of that, think about how much money the company itself is going to generate as far as their own company valuation outside of the Bitcoin they hold, right? Because they're
a software company.
Yeah, they're a software company, but there's tons of money of investors that are investing in MicroStrategy. So there's billions of dollars that are going to be invested in the company, that the company's valuation. So it's another leverage on how much money that company's going to be worth. The company's going to be worth more than the Bitcoin they hold. And the Bitcoin they hold is already going to be worth 200 billion if Bitcoin gets to $1 million. And we both agree that at some point it's going to get there. Just depends on when. When that happens, and it doesn't even have to get to $1 million. It could be $400,000 Bitcoin. Everybody's going to look at MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, and say, like, these guys are the smartest people out there. And you don't think other companies are going to try to replicate in some way? I'm not saying that all of them, but there's going to be a couple of them be like, man, these guys nailed it. and there's going to be others that follow.
I mean, if Apple follows, that would be massive.
Hmm.
Speaking of massive, a potentially massive game. Someone says Shrapnel. Yes, it is Shrapnel. Shrapnel Early Access Preview, the long-awaited crypto shooter, already shines. So this is a very, very highly anticipated game launching on the Avalanche network. And I do have a couple videos of the gameplay that I want to kind of share. And Rob, if you want to kind of give your commentary on this, I know you play a lot of video games. Well, not a lot anymore, but played. This kind of reminds me a little bit of what, like Call of Duty, Fortnite. Well, what are your thoughts here on this gameplay? First of all, the graphics looks freaking amazing, right?
Yeah, as a first-person shooter, there is a lot of buzz. Our friend that's deep into the Web3 gaming, Matt, he's been on our show a few times. He's all in on this right now as well, and giant community. And so,
Is this considered a AAA game?
I don't know. I mean, there's really no criteria for AAA game. That's
I mean,
just
this
kinda
looks and feels
that's like saying,
one,
is this
right?
a blockbuster movie? Like, I mean, like what is a blockbuster? And so the thing is for gaming, you really need community. And that's one thing that Shrapnel has is a thriving community, a giant Reddit space, a gigantic Discord. This is what do you know what game launcher this one's on? Let's see, game launcher. So
Look, like I play video games from time to time, but I'm not a big gamer. But man, I would play this game. This game looks super cool.
this one says coming soon to Epic's games, Epic Game Launcher. No, it's not on there right now, but
I think Disney just bought a big share of Epic Games as well. Interesting there.
yeah.
So I don't know. When I was looking into Shrapnel, right? The one issue I had was their tokenomics. They're not very good. But again, launching on Avalanche, we know Avalanche has a lot of great narratives going for it. It's got the RWA, it's got the subnets, institutions, gaming's a big one. What are have your thoughts on gaming changes when it comes to Web3 and blockchain gaming? Are we like Star Atlas is a great one on Solana, right? Similar feel, graphics look great, story mode looks great. Looks like a game you would actually want to play. But my question is, if it's not on a console like PS5 or PlayStation or Xbox, right? Does it have the chance to get that mass adoption like a Grand Theft Auto does or any of these Call of Duty?
There's no reason you can't launch on Xbox. There is Web3 games by massive studios being built right now that have a crypto token that have an NFT ecosystem where you can buy and retain your own assets that you buy that are launching on Xbox and PlayStation. Off the Grid is one. That's one that Dr. Disrespect did a review on. And so if you're looking for something, and that's going to be available on PlayStation, Xbox, PC. So if you're looking for a game that is available on multiple platforms, it's already here. No, it's not even like a thesis. Like that's already here. And you have the likes of the largest video game streamer globally, playing these games. And they're not brushing it off as a scam. I'm sure a dude got paid to promote it.
Pretty
Yeah.
sure he did too.
But at the same time, he also didn't dismiss it and be like, no, I'm not promoting that. Right. And so it's something that, he shared on a live stream with and played with his audience. And so it's not that the games need to operate on the blockchain. You just need a token that is the in-game currency. Roblox, the Robux,
Yep.
Fortnite, was that V-Bucks?
V-Bucks.
And then all of those in-game currencies, there's really no reason you couldn't just say, hey, let's use a crypto asset. And then also let's put the skins and the in-game purchases, let's also put that on the same blockchain. And then you can retain assets and move it from different games within that ecosystem. And then, speculate on price if you want to as well. So it's huge. The one thing that gaming has Okay, so what's the big draw side to gaming if you're a studio, you're going to create a game? Is the fact that you have about at least 3 years, more or less, more likely you're around 5 years from start of development to the game releases. We have a massive amount of runway that you need to generate capital.
Money, right?
Yeah, you need to have the money to operate a business. I'm also I'm a wine guy, right? And so if you're going to start a winery, you plant the grapes. You don't see any profits for a minimum of 10 years because you have to wait for the grapes to mature and the wine has to age, all this. And so if you're going to start a winery, you got to wait 10 years. You got to have a massive amount of money to start a wine, right? Because you're not taking any profits for 10 years. Same thing in video games. Like you decide to make a video game, you got to have a ton of money. And the thing is a winery, you just need a handful of people making it, a little family. For a game developer, you need a team of people. You need 100 people. You need to be able to finance 100 people, a studio, all of the high-end computers and development software. You need to operate that for 4 or 5 years. And then hope that when the game comes out that you're going to generate a profit. Now, if you look at crypto, what does crypto do? You can raise money extremely quickly, and then these people are just lunatics, and they're just gonna be like, "Hey, man, I'll hold this till it dies," right? And so you have people that are willing to invest outside of the traditional venture capital market. You have people that are willing to invest off of the premise that at one day it'll be good. That's literally what we talk about with crypto all the time. You give me a chain, XRP, Avalanche, any chain, Shiba Inu, doesn't matter. Name crypto. There is a giant community that bought it early that will hold it for 4 or 5 years and simply be like, it's going to be game changing. And so if you get that idea for generating capital in the video game space, hey, I need to bring up a bunch of money. I need fanatics that are passionate about it that can invest and that are willing to hold it for 4 or 5 years off of a promise. And that's exactly what crypto does very well, or at least the community. So very bullish. I do think that the landscape in crypto is changing. Last bull market, it was just kind of like, it was too new. We're talking about metaverse and the thing was ugly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm looking at the metaverse games, I'm looking at Decentraland. I'm like, this is ugly as hell. Like how are people spending, like if you bought a piece of land at metaverse, a little piece of digital real estate for $200,000, you're dumb.
Wow.
I'm just saying, though, like, do some research, man. Go out there, man. Ain't nobody hanging out in that world. That'd have been a terrible investment. Now, maybe they change. They come around or something. But if you would have bought a $200,000 piece of real estate, like if you would have bought that what costs a real house and bought a piece of land in some ugly ass digital pixelated game,
I did with the company money.
Yes,
you just don't know yet.
Okay, for sure.
I do want to give a shout out to our channel sponsor, Cam's Blue Wire Technology. If you want to learn how they can help your business scale and grow, visit bluewiretech.com. Also, guys, we do our video today is on Solana ecosystem. Jido is coming out. So if you're a member of the channel, you do get access to those first. And then also, guys, if you're not in our Discord, go join our Discord. Rocco, can we prompt Nightbot to throw the Discord link up there? We post a lot of updates, all of our links. Obviously, if you're a Well member, you do get access to our Well chat where we post special content for you guys. And so shout out to everyone that supports the channel. And tomorrow's gonna be a good day, man. Tomorrow's gonna be a big day. We got Forrest joining us. We're gonna have a lot of fun. Any last parting words there, Robin?
No, that's all I got, man.
Rocco?
Yeah,
are
I want to see the
you
land
happy
that
with
they-
our XRP trade or what?
Yeah, sure.
He said yes. He's happy.
Yeah, sure.
With that being said-
yes.
Rocco!
What? What is that?
Tornado.
XRP tornado?
Yeah, sure. As long as it brings me the profits, that's all I care about.
Sure.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Big thank you to our two friends who joined us in studio. If you're in Vegas for Super Bowl weekend, let us know. We'd love to have you here. And we'll see you tomorrow. Until next time.
Sin City. crypto. Everybody know we here for entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in for big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I spit the game, but they gave it. Name the coin, it's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy the dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming hola till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya.